Hello everyone out there in Hypno Land, it's Telman Knutson with your weekly Hypno Blog, and we've got some great questions in this week from all around the world, but today I'd like to focus in on one of the most commonly asked questions about hypnosis. People ask this question whether they're trying to lose weight. People ask this question whether they're trying to quit smoking. People ask this question if they're trying to make more money, to improve their sales, to enhance their focus, to improve their follow-through, and to improve their team building, to improve their entrepreneurial strength, to improve their ability to make more money, to keep more money, to save more money. Whatever it is that you're focused on hypnosis for, this question has passed through your mind. And if it hasn't, well, it certainly should. I want to say thank you to Hazel. Hazel, you asked a great question here today, and here it is, everybody. If you've ever wondered about sleep and what the effects are of falling asleep during hypnosis, then you're going to love Hazel's question. So here's what Hazel has to say. She says, if you fall asleep during a hypnosis session, what happens to the effectiveness of the session? Do you still get anything out of the session? If so, how seriously do you reduce its effectiveness? If you wake up at the end, does that mean you weren't really totally asleep? I.e., how does falling asleep change the effectiveness of the hypnosis session? Hazel, great question. You've won yourself a copy of the Self-Hypnosis Sequence. That's our 6-month training program. You get a session every single week for 6 full months, training you in all aspects of self-hypnosis so you can use self-hypnosis to hypnotize yourself to improve yourself in any area of your life. That's over a $300 value. We are going to be registering you for the self-hypnosis sequence, and if you're already a SHS member, then we're going to upgrade you to something even better. So thank you for an awesome question, Hazel. Here's the answer about sleep. So hypnosis is the state between being awake and being asleep. We have 5 brainwave states. Okay, the highest brainwave state, the fastest moving brainwave state is what we call gamma. And gamma is reportedly where most psychic activity happens. Most scientists don't even talk about the gamma state. Most hypnotists don't even talk about the gamma state. Gamma is the fastest brainwave activity state. Second one is where we spend most of our time. That's beta, wide awake alert consciousness. That's what you're in right now. Next one, it's slower. Slower brainwave state is alpha. Alpha is where you start to daydream, where you begin to drift off. Then you usually lose consciousness after you go to the end of alpha and you move into theta. When you lose consciousness, you feel like you've fallen asleep, but you haven't fallen asleep fully yet because you're in the theta state. You go into theta, and that's where your rapid eye movement happens. Theta is where you do all your dreaming at night while you are sleeping, and then after theta, you go into deep recuperative sleep, and that's delta. And that's where there's usually little or no dreaming occurs, where you're totally out like a light, you're completely snoozing super deep. Now, here's the deal. Hypnosis is the state between being fully awake and fully asleep. That means it's right in the middle of that zone. It's in the alpha theta state. Alpha theta state. You can learn to move your own line of consciousness, line of awareness, so you can actually learn to become aware, fully aware while your brain is in the alpha state. You can learn to become fully aware while your brain is in the theta state, and some more experienced and trained meditators, self-hypnotizers, have learned how to stay awake even into the delta state, where your brainwaves drop into deep delta, yet you're able to maintain full wide awake alert consciousness. It takes some training, it takes some practice. But being awake or being asleep is not like an on-off switch with a light switch, for example. It's more like a dimmer. So there's no awake or asleep. Everything is somewhere in between. So when you're doing hypnosis and you feel like you fell asleep, chances are that you've actually lost conscious awareness, and your awareness has turned inside. You've moved into the dreaming state, and you may or may not remember what you observed during that dreaming state. So the answer to your question is, do you lose the effectiveness of a hypnosis session if you feel like you fell asleep or you lost consciousness? And the answer is no. There have been thousands of case studies done looking at the depth of hypnosis, and what we've discovered is that there's no bearing on the effectiveness of a session, whether you're in awareness in the alpha state or if you lose consciousness or feel like you fell asleep and you move into the theta state. no bearing on the effectiveness of the session. The key factors in an effective hypnosis session are not whether or not you remain conscious. What they are is your bond with your hypnotist, whether or not you trust them, believe in them, and are willing to follow their instructions and feel good about where you're going with the session and what you're doing. Critical factor. Would you trust your hypnotist? Number two is how motivated are you to change? If you're committed to change, change happens much more easily when you have the tools to do it. If you're not committed to change, you can give yourself all the tools in the world, it doesn't matter. So your personal and intrinsic motivation and dedication to achieving the change that you desire is the second most critical factor. The second most critical factor. The third is whether or not you have experienced and have been trained in self-hypnosis. People that have been trained in self-hypnosis consistently outperform, outdo, and get faster and more permanent results than people who haven't been trained in self-hypnosis. So I urge you, if you haven't already been trained in self-hypnosis, get trained in self-hypnosis. Every hypnosis session that you do from today forward will become more effective, will become more efficient. You're absolutely going to love it. And not only that, but I'm going to give you access to the self-hypnosis sequence at an insanely low price just as a trial for trying out our new Wealth Switch CD to switch yourself on to making more money. You can check out the self-hypnosis sequence for free. There's a link down in the comments below. So thank you, Hazel, for asking such a wonderful question. I know it's on the top of everyone's mind. And we're going to hook you up with self-hypnosis sequence for free. So congratulations for asking a great question. Please share this video with everyone you know by clicking on the social media sharing buttons just to the left of the video and ask your single biggest question about hypnosis, about wealth, about entrepreneurship, about mindset, about anything that you want an answer to as it relates back to hypnosis in the comments below. Every week we give away absolutely incredible hypno prizes to the person who asked the best question. So this is Telman Knudsen with the new hypnotist. Ask your question below. Get great high value hypnosis prizes. You are going to love, love, love it. Telman Knudsen over and out. Bye-bye.